This year is For Our Kids' 5th birthday, an organization led by thousands of parents across the country taking climate action on behalf of our children's futures. What's the story of For Our Kids? Let's go back to 2019. Sparked by Greta Thunberg's school strikes, a huge surge in climate activism was led by young people who suddenly became heralded as the solution. And while the rise of the youth movement was inspirational and powerful, it didn't feel right that the immense weight of this work would be left to our children. We wondered, do other parents feel the same way?
We had just experienced a couple of summers of intense forest fires in British Columbia, and we thought as parents, you can't stand idly by. Whenever I thought about climate change, I always interpreted through the eyes of my kid.
In 2021, there was a heat dome, and I got a little bit worried about the future for my kids, and I wanted to connect with other parents that were feeling the same things.
After Canada's worst wildfire season on record, I didn't really understand what was going on. So I decided to start learning about climate change. So I Googled climate action parents.
I simply Googled parents and climate change organizations, and For Our Kids came up.
Born as a network for families to connect and get organized, we knew For Our Kids had to be grassroots and parent-led. Personal relationships, our love of our children, and our fears for their future would hold us together.
The parents kind of get each other. I remember the first meeting that we had where we kind of invited people and we just had a play date at my house. Even though we had never met each other, there was this hum of conversation right from the get-go, and we actually had to interrupt people from their conversations to kind of introduce ourselves. All of our meetings will sometimes have cameos of our children. Sometimes they're done in the middle of bedtime, so sometimes our cameras are off.
I think the key ingredient for success for us has been to build community, in that parents aren't feeling alone anymore.
5 years in, and we have over 6,000 supporters and community teams taking action across the country. Parents may be the most time-stretched people, but now we are a team, and we support each other and give whatever time and skills we have.
It's an organization that is so flexible and so welcoming. So wherever you are at in terms of your climate advocacy or your volunteer work, they will find a space for you.
For Our Kids provides me that opportunity in those bite-sized pieces that sometimes I have to, find during the day.
And look at what you've done.
Just this past week, we got to sit down with city councilors, and they're considering rolling back some climate policies. And there's no way I would have had the opportunity to sit down with city councilors if I hadn't joined this group.
We started a bike bus here in town. So we started our house and we just collect kids along the way, and they all bike with us to school.
One of the projects that For Our Kids Ottawa got involved in is a boulevard bylaw reform. Boulevards are the green spaces that the city owns right in front of your house. But in Ottawa, you could only grow grass. We know that we are in a biodiversity crisis. You need as much green space as we possibly can. We were able to successfully navigate and advocate for a change in the boulevard bylaw.
And the local team there brought their kids into a city hall meeting, dressed them up as superheroes, and kind of let them run around council chambers as the climate debate was underway. It was humor, it was fun, and I think it also just kind of gave all the councillors in the room a sense of who they're talking about when they're talking about climate change.
For Our Kids teams were also interveners in the youth-led climate lawsuit in Ontario. They met and lobbied senators and MPs in Ottawa for climate-aligned finance regulations, pushed for a strong emissions cap, and are advocating for electric school buses. You have taken time to learn about the solutions and strategies for change with diversity, equity, and anti-racist organizing top of mind. And you have somehow done it all while raising kids and getting dinner on the table.
One of the more inspiring outcomes of my work with For Our Kids is that my kids have gotten really involved in climate volunteerism themselves. We've gone to climate marches together. They have joined their school's eco club.
As a mom, I feel like being a member of For Our Kids, it will show my children as they start learning more about climate, that I'm on their team. That I've been acting most of their lives.
My kids are gonna grow up and be like, what did you do to fight? And I'll be like, look, I did so many things.
It is incredible what a small group of motivated people can achieve. So thank you for everything you have done. Let's keep rolling for another 5 years. We have learned so much and are capable of so much more. We're just getting started.